Welcome, everyone, to our final Slice of Knightlife this spring. I'm Bruce Beck, along with Rutgers Athletic Director Pat Hobbs. This is In the Huddle with Hobbs. And Pat, it's been almost a month since we last talked during these unprecedented times. Things have improved. How are you doing personally and professionally during this coronavirus pandemic?
You're right. It's been a month, and in some ways it seems longer than a month because all of us love to be on campus and we love to be doing the things with our athletic programs that everybody likes to cheer about. So in some ways you feel like every day is Groundhog Day. You get up like the movie and you do it all over again. But I'm incredibly proud of our coaches, our student athletes, how they've handled everything, how hard they're working. We're right now going into exams, so the academic pursuits of our student athletes continue, and they've continued to work hard. We've heard nothing but positives from our academic advisors, and so that's all going well in a remote world. And then our coaches continue to recruit in the remote world. They continue to work with our current student athletes, try to be as supportive as they can. So we'd all love to be back at work, but we certainly understand, and given what's going on across the New York region, this was the right thing to do, and there's still a lot of pain out there.
Were you impressed, Pat, with the resolve that you've seen from your student athletes, from your coaches, from your staff?
Incredibly impressed. Impressed with everybody in athletics, but I'm impressed with everybody here in New Jersey as well. I mean, people have really made the effort. And even sort of this past weekend with some relaxation of those rules, people were following the social distance guidelines. People know that the more that they do this, the more they leave healthcare resources for those who truly need it. So in some ways I'm surprised, but we have such a dedicated group of student athletes and coaches that they've just turned sort of their resolve that they typically bring to the fields and the courts, and they brought that resolve to this situation.
Tell me a little bit about the weekly meetings with the internal COVID-19 task force. Are you trying to plan ahead, but at the same time weighing the health and safety issues that come with it?
Yeah, no, it's both, right? So our first report every time is a medical report. Dr. Josh Prashad, who's our chief medical officer, sits on that group. First thing we do is we ask Josh for our update. And then we start to talk about one, current environment. Are we serving all of our student athletes and our coaches and our staff in our current environment? And as we look forward and we talk about reopening, we talk about returning student athletes to campus. Are we doing the right kind of planning around that? What are the things that have to happen in order to be able to do that in a seamless way and be prepared for it whenever that happens?
So the football rapidly approaching, as we all know. Do you think there could be a football campaign 2020 with or without fans?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it, on everyone's mind? Not just about college football, but about professional football, all sports. People are very, very hungry right now for sports, particularly college sports. And you can sort of see that with the reaction to the NFL draft, the reaction to the number of people that are watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan and that story. And so we don't know, right? So we certainly hope that we will return under whatever set of circumstances that is. Fortunately, we have some time yet, and as we continue to see, if we continue to see the numbers improve, we've now been given a set of metrics by our governor here in New Jersey, and I know the region is basically adopting similar sets of metrics, so we'll continue to monitor that. And the other thing that I do is I try to figure out, watch what's happening in China, South Korea, Japan, as they start to bring sports back, because they're a couple of months ahead of us. So if they're able to do that successfully, we'll know we'll be able to play football in the fall, and we'll know under what type of requirements we need to do that.
Pat, you held the virtual R Awards, recognizing all the winter and the spring. It was a bit different, but do you think it went well?
I think it was great. The one thing you miss is that is the night where our athletes put on display the very latest in fashion, and you see the sartorial splendor of these magnificent athletes. And so I missed that. I think a little bit of that was attempted to be, evident with our athletes, but short ceremony. Usually it's a couple of hours long, but importantly, recognized some tremendous success by our student athletes, not just athletically this year, but academically as well.
The Big Ten Medal of Honor recipients were Jordan Pagano for wrestling and Amanda Visco of women's soccer. How proud are you of these two athletes?
If I was sort of use one word about both of them, it would be resilient. We use one of our core values is grit, and these are two athletes who they bring that every day. They represent all of our core values. They have integrity. They're accountable. They have great respect for themselves, their teammates, but they're also very resilient. And even now in this COVID-19 world. And so I can't think of two better representatives for Rutgers athletics to receive the Big Ten medal. And forever their names are inscribed at Big Ten headquarters.
Once a night, always. That's been the Rutgers athletics mantra. What are you planning for departing seniors, Pat?
In our first call that we had with all of our student athletes, the first question that came up was, will we take the opportunity to recognize our seniors? And the response was absolutely. And what they asked is in person. So this is sort of, to me, step one, recognizing our seniors. We'll do it remotely. We'll do it in a virtual world as we come up to graduation. It's incredibly important to recognize their contributions because once a night, you are a night, but we also say you're Scarlet forever. And then when it's appropriate to bring them back on campus, we're going to bring them back on campus. There's a lot of people that need to be celebrated in the years ahead. It's our seniors who had to go through sort of a difficult year, all of our healthcare professionals, our first responders. I want to get as many of them back on campus as we can so we can say thank you, and we honor your contribution to Rutgers, for your contribution to the folks in New Jersey as well.
And speaking of the seniors, Pat, my colleague Lester Holt will be the virtual commencement speaker at Rutgers on May 31st at 2 p.m. I know this is not what the kids expected, but what are you looking forward to in that regard?
Well, look, I know it's not what they're expecting, and maybe there'll be other things that we can do, like we're going to do for our student athletes as we go forward. But it's important, for so many of these students, they are first generation college. Some of them are first generation high school and college and their families. So a moment of tremendous pride, and it's wonderful to see them in the stadium on that day and see the family groups taking pictures on all the parts of the campus. Unfortunately, we can't do that, but really important to still, no matter under what medium you do it, recognize the great success, academic success. They're going on now to the rest of their professional lives. And so it should be celebrated. I think Lester will do a great job. And it's what he's used to. He's used to speaking through the medium of a camera, right?
Absolutely. And finally, Pat, I know you're following all the guidelines of medical professionals in terms of health, wellness, safety. What's your overall message to the Rutgers community?
Keep the faith. Keep faith that we will get back together. We will get back onto the playing fields. We'll get back in the classrooms. We'll do all the things that make a student-athlete experience fantastic. Continue to do what you're doing. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Continue to follow all these guidelines. And we'll get back and we will continue to write the greatest chapter in Rutgers athletics history.
Pat, it's been great working with you this year on Nightlife, on Slice of Knightlife. I hope I see you in the tunnel Labor Day weekend with Coach Schiano as you take on Monmouth in the opener. That is what we're all hoping for.
I hope we have a lot more than just you and me in the stadium, but even if it's just the two of us, I know Coach Schiano will want us on that sideline, and I can't wait to see him lead our team onto the field whenever that is.
I wish you good luck during these challenging times, and to all of you in the Rutgers community, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back with you in the fall, and until then, be safe and be strong. For Pat Hobbs, I'm Bruce Beck.